Hello everybody. Welcome to part 2 in my knife steel collection. It's going to be a 4-part series, and part 2 is going to be your budget steels through your mid-range or what are considered, normal EDC steels. Moving slightly into a little bit higher than budget range of price on knives, but I think you'll see where I go with it on just the different types of steel that I'm presenting. So before I get into the main body of it, I wanted to give a shout out to cutlery lover Jeff. This should have been in the last video. It's a 5CR knife that he had made, and this one is number 73 of 250, and it is a knife that he had done on his channel. He wanted to keep it budget, and yeah, it came out pretty good. So there you go. Just a shout out to Jeff there. And let's put you there, and moving right along. So we've had 5CR, so let's go with 8CR. Spyderco Tenacious, one of my very first knives, good knives that I had. And so 8CR, we're, like I said, moving into budget steel range where where steels are considered, okay. Acceptable, perhaps, is a better way of putting it. Maybe even only barely acceptable nowadays, but it is what it is. So there we go with 8CR, Spyderco Tenacious. Moving up the chain a little bit, we have some 12 CR27, I believe. So let's take a look here. Yes, there we go, 12 C27. So 12 C27, also in the Spyderco line. This is the Grasshopper, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that is what it is called. Next in line after the 12CR will be, we also have, I should have probably put this one back with the, as soon as I find it, oh Lord, I have such a pile of knives here trying to go through them, I apologize. This will take me a while. Going next, well, should have been probably with the 8CR is OS 8. This is a manual Kalashnikov. So most people are familiar with the auto, and this is a manual, and not as common, but it is in OS 8. There we go. There we go. Taiwanese made. Okay. So moving up the chain a little bit, I think we will come to some 9CR. So this is going to be really hard to see down in here. There you go. 9CR18 MOV. And this is the Civivi Praxis. Awesome knife, big knife, and quite a fun knife. And moving next, this is like really difficult to suss out what should be in what category, but we had OS 8, so let's go with OS 10A, the AD 20.5. And we're just going to run out of room, so we'll just move him up to the top there. And leave it box. There you go. There we go. 8025. Great knife. I think we're probably going to have to close all of these to just have enough room to even show this group of knives. I'm trying to move quickly as well because it's going to be a long video. But, YouTube is being kind of crappy with their whole shorts thing, so I'm not in the best of mood about length of time on my videos, but I'll save that for another discussion. Here we got some BD1N, I believe. There we go. This is a knife I traded Jared with Jared Neves, Neves Knives, like years ago when he was very first getting going, and I'm happy to trade with him. I have the CME from OCD for EDC on there, and that's compression made easy. Go check it out. If you have one of the compression locks, these things really make the knife just a whole new knife. It's a lot more fun. Okay, let's see, what shall we put next? This is difficult, so let's go with VG10. Here we have the Cricket, and this is another Spyderco, VG10 there, Seki City, Japan, and VG10. At some point, maybe I'll do a knives from around the world and go over all the knives I have from different places. That might be fun too. Lately, due to some controversy, this is apparently a steel that is lower down on the list than most people thought it was. ARPM 9, and this is the Arroyo, Artisan Cutlery Arroyo. I have to remember all these knives names. You think you have it tough. Next, we have some 14C28N in the form of the Dam Designs Yokai. This is one of the most aggressive Tontos that I've seen, or is it Tanto? Tontos I've seen in years, and I love it. So there you go. And like I said, I got to keep moving fast because we will run out of time otherwise. So going on next, we will have some, and these are not necessarily going to be in the best order. N690, this is CO. So I don't know what the CO means. This is the Squeak, and it is probably the worst action knife. It's a double detent knife, or kind of a, I don't know, slip joint, if you will. But it's, you know, Europe and California and, well, legal in all those places. And speaking of legal in Europe, here's another one in 690, but without the CO, number 198 of the Boker Merlin, which is a funny knife because you can, it has kind of like that same backlock thing. You can flick it one-handed, and it was made in Solinger, which means, and I guess to be sold, which means it's supposed to be German legal, but yeah, maybe it's not. I'm not sure about that. Next on the list, moving on up, I'm going to put in, and I might ruffle some feathers here, but I'm going to put in D2 as my next steel. And here we have the Penguin. This is with the red shredded carbon fiber and a coated D2 blade. If I mention D2, I got to list some of its variants. Here we have the SOG Terminus, and it's in Cryo D2. So that is D2 that was cooled down. There you go, Cryo D2. That was like apparently cooled down differently than normal to give it some finer crystalline structure and better action, function. It's pretty good. I like the SOG Terminus. I've heard people criticize it, but I like it in both its varieties, and I've given them away as gifts. They're a great pocket knife that has good action, is very sturdy, and will last a long time. So there we go. Another type of D2 is the, let's see here, K110, I believe it's called, K110. And this is the Arcona Knives Nettle F. And yeah, I like it. Very interesting action. Uses these weird, regular screw nuts for retain screws, and even strange placement with one in the middle. It's really cool. It's a neat knife. Forgiving Russia for all of its controversy. Here's another D2 knife. I'm just going to throw in here because who knows if it's really D2. But here we have a Cobra Tech out the front. So yeah, there you go. Speaking of out the fronts, we can move up the knife steel category a little bit. So here we have a Boker Hogue, what's called a Blackout. And it is actually listed basically as Hogue 154 CM. And then we got Boker over here on this side. You can see that I use it a lot. I like to use it a lot. It's wearing off the coating on the top of the blade. But 154 CM, and I would be remiss if I didn't address CPM 154. And so here we have the launch 11, I think it is. It might be launch 12. Double check. Not sure which is which. I think it's the 11, which is CPM 154. USA made, great out the side automatic knives. The launches are pretty good. But speaking of the 154 CM, it's not necessarily a budget still. It's used in some very nice knives. Here we have the Protec Magic Whiskers, also in 154 CM. A great hidden bolster automatic knife that is just really awesome. If you want to see it, I think there's a video on it in my channel. Actually, there's probably a video on every single one of these knives. If you really want to see anything about any of them, and both the short formats, and I've probably talked about them in other videos. Let's leave you sitting out. And I did kind of skip over a knife steel, Nitro V. And we'll put Nitro V in this category as well. This is the mini Archbishop from Fair and Forge. Awesome, awesome knife. Wouldn't mind getting an Archbishop itself one of these days. And I think that's almost to the end of the knife steels. I feel like I am missing one, but we'll include it in the next one then. And so here we go with some ZDP 189. It's also somewhere in this upper end of steels. It might actually belong in the next category up into the mid-range to super steels, but yeah, we got it down here in the man bug. So there we go. So this has been budget to middle of the road steel in my collection. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed. You'll like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't. Should probably say that at the beginning, but if you actually made it to all the way to the end, give me a thumbs up and make a comment that you made it to the end, because I would be stunned, because I prattle on quite a bit. That being said, we're gonna wrap this up. So I hope you've enjoyed. Next will be the mid-range to high-end range steels in my collection. And this has been Patrick. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.